Doctor, you're going to step this way. Step around, have a seat right there.
We've got some water in it. Step.
You ready, Doctor?
Yeah.
And if you could please speak up and state your name for the record, Doctor, please. State your name.
My name is Veronika Volnikh. It's Volnikh.
And how are you employed, ma'am?
I employ as Associate Medical Examiner at the District 10 Medical Examiner Office.
And how long have you been a medical examiner?
20 years.
Could you give the jury a brief idea of your educational background?
I graduated from medical school in Havana, Cuba. I completed my postgraduate training in pathology at the University of Puerto Rico. And after that, I completed my forensic pathology training at the University of South Florida. And after that, I was employed at our current office here in the District 10.
Are you a licensed physician in the state of Florida?
Yes.
For how long?
21, 22 years.
And you said you're a medical examiner. What are your duties as a medical examiner?
The main duty of medical examiner is to determine the cause and manner of death, or how is the person died and why is the person died.
Approximately, are autopsies a regular part of what you do?
We perform about 300 to maybe 350 autopsy per year, every year, depends. Sometimes less, sometimes more.
So approximately how many autopsies do you believe you've performed?
In 20 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Oof. A lot.
Fair enough, ma'am. I think you've given us an idea of the numbers that we're dealing with, unfortunately. In your personal experience as a medical examiner, have you performed any autopsies on infants?
Yes.
Let me ask you this, Doctor. You mentioned some practices. What is forensic pathology?
Again, the main goal of forensic pathologist or medical examiner to determine the cause and manner of death, or how is the person die and why is the person die.
And have you ever testified as an expert before, Doctor?
Yes.
And how many times?
Many.
Many times. Have you testified as an expert in your area in Polk County previously?
Polk County, Hardy County, and Highlands County, which is our District 10.
Your Honor, at this time the state would tender the expert as far as qualifications are concerned.
Defense?
No objection.
All right. Doctor, you are considered an expert in this court size and for the jury. Thank you. You're an expert.
Doctor, I would like to now direct your attention to November 2nd of 2022. On that date, were you asked to perform an autopsy on a baby by the name of Uriel Shock?
Well, I was not asked. Once somebody dies in our jurisdiction, we get a call, depending where the body is. Hospital, the scene, we will get the call to our office. Somebody present the case. We determine that that's the case, medical examiner case. Once we determine it's our case, we will dispatch our transport to the place where the body is located, and we will bring the body to our office. Once the body arrives at our office, whoever on that day on duty will perform the autopsy. So we are obligated to do that.
Pardon my poor choice of words. I guess I should have said, were you obligated to perform the autopsy? So you did perform an autopsy on Uriel Shock?
Yes, it's of course it depends case by case. Sometimes we don't perform autopsy if we have enough information. Let's say somebody been in the hospital, we get review of medical record, medical history, and we may determine the cause of death, including the manner of death. But in the infant or children's, we almost always perform the autopsy to see what happened.
Why is that, Doctor?
Well, children cannot talk, infants cannot talk. Sometimes we have to exclude all the possible causes of death, like trauma, intoxication, any diseases that the children may have, which was not diagnosed. So we have to look at that to determine the cause of death.
And in this situation, how do you normally start out conducting that process?
Well, in this particular case, we get the call from the hospital, and they say there was a child that left in the car for several hours. So we say, okay, this looks suspicious, so we will bring the body to our office to examine. Again, we dispatch our transport. The transport will place the body in the body bag as is, seal the body bag, and that bag will be transported to our office. Once the body arrives at our office, we will open the body bag. We will take series of photographs of the body as is in the body bag with any medical equipment attached or any clothing that on the deceased. After that, we will remove the body out of the body bag. We will remove all the medical devices, clothing. We clean the body, and we'll take another series of photographs of the body, front, back, from all the angles. The reason we do that is to show presence or absence of any injury on the body. That's what we do. And
if I may, Doctor, in this instance, since we're talking about the external examination, did you notice any of that, any evidence of any trauma or anything like that?
When
injuries?
we do the photographs, it's kind of part of examination, but we just do for preservation purposes, we do all these photographs. And like we say, then we decided, okay, we're going to do autopsy. Autopsy has two parts. External examination, which include looking at the body, see if there is any injury on the body, visual injury. Sometimes you can have visual injury from externally, but or you have no injury externally, but you may have something internally. So if you find something, we document it. Again, with the photographs and with the description. So once we perform the external examination, we also, before we open the body for internal examination, we also do the X-rays on the body, especially in the children's. We look for any acute or older injury of the bone, of the extremities, or the ribs. So we look if there is any previous injury that have been healed. And we didn't find any on this case. Neither we have any external injuries on the baby.
So you did not note any external injuries?
She did not have any external injuries.
And what is after you finish the external, you also mentioned before you go internal examination. Is that what you would have done next in this case?
Yes. Then once we do the external examination, we proceed with the internal examination. That means we will open the cranial cavity, we look at the brain, we open the chest cavity, we look at the organ, heart and lungs. Then we look at the abdominal cavity, if there is any infection, any trauma, anything that will explain why this child died. And we also collect the body fluid of the body. We take eye fluid, blood, we take urine, stomach content if it's available. And we send that to toxicology labs so we exclude or confirm any substances that may contribute to the death of this child.
And from your internal examination, did Uriel suffer from any infections or substances or anything like that caused her death?
No, no. Also, like there's some substances can elevate your core body temperature, like amphetamine or cocaine. So we always look for those two, and obviously we didn't find anything. We find no evidence of trauma. We have no evidence of any disease. So there was nothing to explain her death, except that she was in the hot car. And
So, doctor, let me put it this way. You reviewed and you did your examination. Did you come to any conclusions about what the cause of her death was?
Yes.
And what was that?
We say that she died of hyperthermia.
And what is hyperthermia, doctor?
It's elevated body temperature due to either drugs, diseases, or environment that contribute. In this case, that she was in the car, left for a couple of hours. We came to this diagnosis by excluding all the other causes that can be like trauma, infection, intoxication. So that's, we say that she died of hyperthermia.
And hyperthermia, is that something that's instantaneous, doctor?
No, this is not instant death. She will die slowly. If you leave somebody in the car, in the enclosed car, about 10 minutes after, the temperature in the car probably rise about 19 degrees more than outside. So if you have outside 90 degrees, in the car it will be probably 110 degrees. If you leave for 40 minutes, the temperature inside the car rises up like by 40 degrees more. So it's 130 degrees. So now when your body temperature is, you are there, so your body starts fighting this heat. So what the body does, the blood vessel dilate. She will try to sweat, because when you sweat, the fluid evaporates and it cools the body. But if she's long time in the car, then she starts, losing that fluid. Her blood pressure going to drop. If your blood pressure drop enough that it's not going to deliver proper oxygen to your brain, you start suffering. With your neurons start dying, so the brain starts swelling. You will become unconscious, not dead yet, but unconscious. You may have seizures. Also, if your brain don't have oxygen, enough oxygen for about 10 minutes, you will die. You become brain dead, and that's irreversible. If she rescued before she's brain dead, she may or may not recover, because not only the brain suffers, the other organs also suffer. You can have liver failure, heart failure, kidney failures because of the heat, and because, again, there's no enough blood, oxygen going to the organ to sustain the life of those organs. But no, this is not instant death.
So, doctor, based on your professional opinion, would Uriel have died had she not been left in that hot car?
There is no reason why she will die. She was completely normal, well-developed, well-nourished child.
Thank you, doctor. I have no further questions. Oh, I do have one question. I take that back, doctor. I'm approaching you with the pre-marked State's Exhibit number 64. Do you recognize that, doctor?
I do.
And is that Uriel Shock who you performed the autopsy on?
Yes, that's we call it this picture, identification picture. So we just take the face for identification purposes.
Your Honor, this time the state would seek to enter into evidence State 64.
Defense?
No objection.
Okay, let me have it.
And Your Honor, with that, I have further questions.
Okay. It's admitted without objection. All right, defense, any questions? Direct across?
Yes, Your Honor. Please keep going. Just very briefly.
Doctor, you remember Detective Samendel, also known as Detective Fletcher?
No,
You remember speaking with her?
no,
You don't remember telling her that the death of this child was sudden and quickly?
no, I will not say that. This is not sudden death. The sudden death is something that
Ma'am, did you say that? That's my question.
you
To
ask
her.
me if I remember. I do not.
Okay.
And
And did
it's
you say
not
because
instant
of the
death.
contents of
Hang
the...
on a second. We need to ask a question, let her give an answer. and we'll-
You didn't tell her because you looked at the contents of the stomach and you could tell that the death was quickly?
Quickly and instant, it's not the same. The quick mean less than an hour after person eat, and if it has something in the stomach, it will depend on what the child eat. If it is formula, it could be there for 2 hours. If it's breast milk, it can be only 30 minutes, maybe at them you don't have anything in the stomach. Again, it's not instant. It's quick, but not instant.
Say quick, but not instant.
It could be an hour. That's quick too.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. State. Yes, Your Honor, briefly.
Doctor, I want to just focus on the questions that was just asked to you. You said that based on the stomach contents and how quickly they're gone. Obviously, if you had information about when Uriel last ate, it would be more useful and more useful to your opinion on as far as what quickly is. Is that safe to say?
Well, again, we know that she has something in the stomach, so whatever she eat, which I don't know what time she eat, she still have some food in her stomach, partially digested food. So that means that she don't digest completely. Like I say, if she eat formula, it stay almost for 3 hours. So it's maybe less than 3 hours that she died since she eat last time. Again, I don't know what time she eat, but it's not instant death.
Okay. And so that just so it's clear, when you say quickly, you're not talking 5, 10, 15 minutes.
Again, quickly doesn't mean instant. It's not instant death. She was, alive to produce all that sweat that this child have, because when we receive these kids cases, we have also information from, let's say, EMS, law enforcement, so we read all the report. And we know that the child was, her clothes was completely soaked of sweat. So that means that child was alive for some time to produce that amount of sweat. So again, quickly could be an hour. If the temperature rise very fast, very high, she cannot, even the adult cannot sometimes overcome the hyperthermia. In the children, it's even worse. They get very hot very quickly. So again, they try to sweat, but because they cannot overcome that insult, so they became unconscious first, and then they die after the brain dies.
So is it fair to say that when you use the term quickly,
Leading question, Your Honor.
Overruled.
so when you use the word quickly, it's more of a term of art compared to hours compared to days. Would that be safe to say?
Correct.
All right. No further questions.
Okay. May this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you agree?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Doctor. Have a nice day. You're free to do your business.
Thank you.
All right, state for the next witness.
Your Honor.